So is everybody here? Most people here? I have to put on my glasses to see all you fabulous people. So hello once again. Hello, beautiful souls. Welcome. I am so grateful that you're here. I'm so grateful that I'm here. I am so grateful that you choose to share your Wednesday afternoon with me. I know you could have been doing anything else, but you choose to hang out with me, and I really appreciate it. So, what I really want to do today is, before I get into anything else, maybe I need to introduce myself for the people who don't know who I am. My name is Paula D'Souza. I have been in the beauty business for over 25 years as a makeup artist. But I'm not just a makeup artist. What I do, I transform lives through conversation and my skill set as a makeup artist. Because the conversations that you hear me have when you see someone sitting in my chair, it is exactly what happens when you sit in my chair on a regular basis. We have these really intimate, deep conversations, and I thought it would be great to bring it to you from behind the scenes. And the intent is to inspire and motivate you as we go along. And I think from the feedback that I've gotten so far, I think I'm hitting the spot, and I'm so happy for that. So I want to do a couple of birthday greetings because I have this month, January, February is like my favorite month because I think, because not everybody believe in astrology, but for me, from my observation, I really believe that as a Libra, Aquarians, Geminis, my fellow Libras, Virgos are my best matches in terms of, oh, and Aries. And I think I have a couple of Scorpions and yeah, Capricorns. So for the most part, I think we get along with a lot of the signs. But for some reason or the other, you see Aquarians, my list is long. So today I'm gonna send a shout out to Michelle Sober. She usually pops on a Wednesday too from time to time. If you're there, I want to say happy birthday to you, Michelle. Happy birthday to Cliffy. Happy birthday to Sharon Roberts. And my brother's going to be celebrating his in 2 days' time, but I'm going to just give him a quick hi in advance. And I wish you guys the most amazing birthday and the most amazing year. But most of all, I think, I don't know if it has anything to do with getting older, but I really believe that now health is like the most important thing when it comes to life, because you can have everything else, and if you don't have health, you have nothing. So I wish you guys health, and once you have health, you have everything. Everything else is icing on the cake. I got up this morning and I was chatting with a friend of mine, and the person asked me how I was doing, and I was like, you know what, I am awesome. And I stretched. I could stretch my hands, I could stretch my feet, I could speak. I feel well in my body, and I am awesome. Everything else that came with the day is icing on the cake. So yes, so today's topic, I said in the introduction, I actually just did a blog. I don't know if I would have mentioned it before. I do blog from time to time, and I have been blogging for almost about 15 years now. And well, it's only recently I started using my name, but in the beginning I used to blog on the pen name. So yes, I have an alias out there, and I've been published on another website, and I have a little folder that I put together. Also, maybe who knows, sometime in the future I will definitely, not who knows, sometime in the future I will definitely be doing a book because I already have something put together. And so yes, so the recent blog that I did, it's titled 19 Random Gems I Embrace from My Encounters with Love. And I shared it on my page earlier today and a couple of days ago, but I don't know how many people actually pop in to read. So my blog is my name, Paula D'Souza, at wordpress.com. So you can check it out, follow the blog, feel free to like and and share. There's all kinds of information out there, not just beauty, but like I said, I'm passionate about everything to do with life on the whole. Love and relationships is my thing. So what I want to find out from you guys today is what is your take on love? We just finished celebrating Valentine's Day, and I know a lot of people always tend to be make a fuss about Valentine's Day and la 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 and the chocolates and the roses and whatever else, but there's a history behind Valentine's Day, and when I found out about it, for me, I never got caught up in the sentiments because, of course, apart from what it supposedly represent behind the scene, it's another commercialized, well, event, I should say. Yeah. So for me, every day is an opportunity to love. And I did a couple of points that I used from the blog, and I'm going to share that with you. But before I go into that, one of the things that I wanted to say is I had started, I don't know how many of you heard of the Deepak Chopra 21-day meditation challenge. Has everybody, and has any one of you have ever done it before or heard of it? The 21-day challenge. So for me, on my end, this is the second time that I'm doing it, and it just so happened, I don't know, the day 19 was perfectly aligned with February 14th. And the first time I remember reading it, what he said about love really, really inspired me and touched me in a really deep way. So I'm going to read it real quick for you. And he said, love is the most powerful force in the universe. It can heal, inspire, and bring us closer to the higher self. Love is an eternal, never-ending gift to ourselves and others. When we truly experience love, we find ourselves. And at the core of our being, you are pure love. At the core of your being, you are pure love. Those are words from Deepak Chopra. So let me know what you guys think about it, because I thought it was just so phenomenal. And from my experience, when he says, love is an eternal, never-ending gift to ourselves and to others. When we truly experience love, we find ourselves, and that is phenomenal. And I really do believe it's one of the truest things that I've ever read. And I know for a lot of people, they tend to think, if we supposedly at the core of our being is love, why is there so much hate out there? But you have to remember, with everything there is a balance, eh? You cannot know, or you cannot experience light if you never experience dark, and you cannot experience dark if you never experience light. So every one of us has the ability to manifest anything, because all of us have it. So it's a choice. Love is a choice. So my first, so this is, I'm going to be sharing from a personal perspective of my experience. And like I said, 19 random gems I embraced from my encounters with love. And the first one, love will teach you your biggest lessons, especially on how to be patient. And when I speak of love, I'm not just necessarily speaking of romantic love. The first love we know is from our parents and our siblings, and I guess like your cousins and your friends that you grew up with. So when I examined the whole my 19 encounters with love, it was from that perspective. It wasn't just about romantic love. So the other lesson that I learned is patience. Love will teach you how to be patient with yourself, and it will also teach you how to be patient with others, because it's impossible to love someone and not exercise patience with that person. Because one of the things that we really need to be very aware of is that every one of us will love from a different place because of our experiences. We're not healing on the same level. So sometimes where I am is not where you are. Hi, Erla. So that is where we have to be patient. I mean, there's a huge difference between being patient with yourself and the person who you're choosing to share your love with, and being in a situation where you feel you are taken advantage of. There's a big, big difference. Yeah, I'm drinking my cucumber water. Skin is a big thing for me, and it really does help when you spike your water. So this is me spiking my water. So I hope you all have something and you're drinking something. So I'm going to just pop through and to see if I have any questions so far. Any comments or questions based on what I have shared so far? Yeah. So when it comes, okay, what I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna kind of zone into the whole idea of romantic relationships. Hi, Abigail. Thank you so much. Oh, sending you love and healing energy. Look what I'm wearing. So y'all, if you're into beautiful wearing beautiful jewelry, check out Abigail Bruno. She has a really awesome collection of rings. This ring is courtesy her. She has rings, she has necklaces, she has earrings, and anything fabulous that you're looking for. Check out that queen. She's gonna hook you up. So sending you healing energy, and make sure you get some rest and recover fast. And I will give you a call tomorrow. I know you have to rest tonight. So yeah, so let's talk about love. And I really believe the first person who deserve your love is yourself. And if you do not fully understand who you are as a person and how you love, it is going to be extremely difficult for you to share yourself or share love with anybody else. So my advice is, do you think finding self is lose some in, I don't understand. Do you think finding self is lose some is you? I think you need to rephrase that question because I don't fully understand what you're trying to ask. Yeah, so what I'm saying now is a lot of people get messed up in relationships because of one of a few things. But the first thing is not understanding how to love themselves. Rephrase the whole question for me, please, so I could really get it. And I know you have a way of shortening your words and your sentences and stuff like that. So do it in such a way that I'll be able to read it and get what you're asking. Yes. So self-love. If you don't understand how to love yourself, how are you going to receive love from somebody else? Or how are you going to be able to embrace love if you don't understand what it is? And when I talk about self-love, I'm not talking about being conceited or being, what is the other word? Being full of yourself kind of thing. The kind of self-love starts from appreciating yourself. And when you know how to appreciate yourself, when you know how to embrace yourself, when you understand how to be your best companion, only then are you able and willing to share yourself with somebody else. Because at the end of the day, love first, self, and then anything else outside of that is like icing on the cake. All right, so I'm going to attempt to read it. Do you think finding and loving self is losing some of self and others? If I think, let me see if I could try to understand. Do you think finding and loving yourself is losing some of self and others? I honestly, in terms of a, so I'm gonna attempt to like connect with you and try to figure out exactly what you're saying. Okay, if I am loving myself, right, and I'm gonna share myself with somebody else, are you saying that I supposed to lose some of who I am to be able to love somebody else? Is that what you're asking? So let me know. Because I honestly, if that's what you're saying, from my experience, I honestly do not believe that anybody deserves to shortchange themselves so that someone else could be comfortable in a relationship or in a connection. From my personal experience is I only really started to enjoy love and my relationships when I got to that place where I honor me first. And there's a huge difference from honoring yourself first and being in situations where you have to compromise and not lose who you are. I don't believe that somebody should be in a relationship with others and have to lose who they are. If you feel like you have to not honor who you are as your true self and your wholeness, then you are not with the right person, or you're starting off a connection in a way that is unhealthy for you. Because first of all, when you love yourself, you will fully honor who you are as a person first. Now, there's a huge difference between that and being in a situation, okay, understanding that when it comes to being in a relationship with someone that you love, then there may be times when you will have to compromise, but it doesn't have anything to do with who you are as a person. Let me see if there's an example. Because first, hold on. Let me see if I could think of a good example. Like for example, I'm gonna put it this way. Before you get into a relationship with somebody, I believe you should honor yourself by sitting with yourself and deciding, what do I need from a partner? What are my expectations if I choose to share myself in a relationship? And this is what it looked like for me. What it looked like for me is like sitting down with yourself and writing down a list of, just imagine exactly what your, I mean, yes, we know there's no, before anybody say, well, perfect, there's no such thing as perfect. There's perfect enough for me, right? There's a perfect imperfection out there for perfect imperfect me. I'm getting all tongue tied here. So there's a perfect imperfect person out there for me that will complement my imperfect perfect self. I don't know if that makes sense, right? So I really believe that, because this is what worked for me. I sat down and I thought about the character of the person. When I talk about the character, does the person have integrity? Of course, I thought about the looks. Of course, I thought about what do I really need in terms of like my security, how do I want to feel with the person, and all those little things. So you have to be really, really honest with yourself first. And then when you decide what you want, then you choose on the other side now, what are your deal breakers, right? Because here's the thing, it does not make sense if you are going to fall in love with someone. I mean, yes, sometimes our hearts don't necessarily always choose what we want, but it doesn't really make sense if you have a desire to travel the world and then you go hook up with somebody who don't even want to leave the neighborhood. Then you're going to be in trouble. So you have to have your deal breakers. The other thing is, for me personally, is abusive relationships. I'm not doing no verbal abuse, no emotional abuse, no physical abuse. So anytime that show up, you need to get the hell out of it and get out fast, because that is on your deal breaker. There should be no compromises, right? And that is where a lot of people get themselves in trouble, because they don't understand clearly what they really need and what their desire is to be in a healthy. Hi Rachel, welcome, welcome, welcome. I'm gonna just go back, I think, because I think I saw somebody pop up. Do you think most people measure love by actions or words? Well, I believe it's a combination. And then here's the thing. Like I said, love have to start with you first, because if you don't understand how love feels when somebody tell you, "Oh, I love you," how are you gonna know if they for real? It's first is a feeling, is a connection, is a vibration, is an energy. So if you have somebody coming around you to say, because I mean, of course, I experienced that too. Hey, Anthony, how are you? How are you, Anthony? I would love a guy's perspective. Exactly. That's what I said in the beginning. Self love is very important, and that's where it starts. Because if you understand how to love yourself, then it's gonna be easy for people to just observe how to love you. You know, and it's not and it doesn't necessarily just applies to romantic relationships. It applies to our friendships as well, right? We have to set very clear boundaries. We can love people passionately and deeply, but it don't necessarily mean that you will always end up with that person, or you should be in a relationship with that person. And not everybody who love you, you should want to spend the rest of your life with either. So everything works differently for different people. So that's why I said it's important before you get into a situation, or before you get into a relationship with anybody else, get into an intimate relationship with yourself first. So you know who you are, you know what you like. So when anytime you choose to share yourself with somebody else, everything is icing on the cake. All right. See how she brightened up because she loved me. Yes. Thank you, City Pie. I really, really appreciate your support, and I appreciate it, a guy's perspective. So if you have any more little gems and tips that you want to share on love, feel free. And a little bit later, I'm going to post the link to my latest blog, 19 Gems I Embrace. Let me see exactly what the thing is, because sometimes I write and I don't always remember. It says 19 gems I embraced from my encounters with love. And I did a general thing. Romantic love, love with my son, love with my parents, my friends. Yeah. So that is basically it. So the next I'm gonna move on. This is a big one. Unconditional love is the purest form in its unconditional love in its purest form will introduce you to the most intimate parts of yourself. So I'm gonna read that again. This is one of the gems that I embrace, and I only recently, I could say, I don't know if I want to put a number to it, but it's only recently I really understand what the whole, you hear people talk about unconditional love, but it's I only recently get it. So I'm gonna read it again. It says unconditional love in its purest form will introduce you to the most intimate parts of yourself. He who seeks a wife should find himself first. Yes, please, because here's I'm gonna go here with since I have two Anthony's on the thing, but so I'm gonna call one by his first name, Linden, who said, "He who finds us a wife." Ladies, the only man who should put your hand in your father. That being said, none of you should be getting a lick by any man for real. Trust me. That's a no-no. Yeah. So here's the thing about relationships. Let's talk about, because this is something that I have been observing for a while. And maybe I need to define what, or have you ever asked yourself this question? What is the purpose for relationships? Anybody ever asked that question? What is the purpose for relationships? I'm going to take it generally. If you ever asked yourself that question and you came up with an answer, please, I would love if you could share it in the comment section, because at the end of this, I will go back and read. And then for everybody who is popping on a little bit later, they will get an opportunity to have different perspectives. So from my observation and my perspective, the purpose for relationships, starting with our parents and our siblings, is for purpose. Period. Whether it's romantic, your family, your friends, the purpose for relationship is for connection for purpose. That is the main thing. So this is what happens. Most people do not understand the relationships that you've encountered along the way. that is directly linked to your purpose. This is what happens. Man and woman meet one another, they fall in love, somebody mess up, whether it's the man or the woman, and then next thing you have two bitter people. Either she don't want nothing to do with men no more, or he don't want anything to do with women, and whether we like it or not, it's like one rotten apple just spoil the whole goddamn barrel. And in their opinion, all men are dogs and all women are bitches or whatever else they say. And that is not so. Every connection that you have, every relationship that you have and you encounter is for purpose, whether it works out or it don't work out. This is what happens. It's in terms of purpose, it helps to build our character. One, it helps us to get in touch with the most intimate parts of ourselves. Two, and it also helps us to get in touch with the things that we are passionate about. So when you do not embrace your connections, and if you break up with somebody, instead of saying, okay, what have I learned from this situation, what would I do next in my next situation? But most people tend to give up on love because one person messed them up, or even if it's two people mess them up. Sometimes, as they say in the fairy tale world, sometimes you have to kiss a few frogs before you find your prince. And I'm not calling men frogs, you know what I'm saying? It's just a metaphor, right? So what happens now when you have a relationship that don't work out? Instead of taking time out and healing before you move on to the next, most people jump into another situation. So you end up bleeding on other people who had nothing to do with you, with your cuts and your bruises in the past. So in my coaching business, I would always advise my clients to take time out to heal and understand what are the lessons that that particular situation had brought to you. What did you learn from it? How can I move forward? What would I do differently? And to me, I believe you give yourself the best gift when you can wipe the slate clean and move on. Because in relationships, or most adult relationships, people tend to treat every situation as innocent, no, guilty until proven innocent. And that's not fair, because a lot of times what could happen is you can end up messing up the other person in the process, right? For me, I do the up. I don't know if it's okay or if it's not okay, but I do innocent until proven guilty. I give everybody a fair chance, because at the end of the day, all men are not the same. All human beings are not the same. Everybody will bring you their own unique experience based on where they are. And not everybody really takes the time to do the work on themselves to get the healing. So unconditional love, like I said, it will really introduce you to the most intimate parts of yourself. And this is a general statement. It does not necessarily apply to romantic relationships. This experience really opened me up from my relationship with my son to relationship with my partner to my relationship with my friends, and it really is the most humbling experience, as well as the most blissful experience too, because when you could open yourself up to really love yourself and be able to give somebody else that love without any expectations in return, is like a whole other world just really opens up for you, and you experience such an amazing gift when you could give love from that perspective. It really is a very, very unique experience. So, but I can tell you this: if you're somebody who is prideful and you have ego issues, you can't go there. You have to work on yourself first before you get to that point where you could really open up to the whole experience of loving unconditionally, receiving and giving. All right. So the next thing I want to touch on is Yes, life is meant for living and exploring. And I'm saying that to say this because, like I said, I've observed a few people who, after one broken relationship, they just retired and they took a back seat. And the next thing you know is the bitterness steps in, resentment steps in, and all those things manifest in your body as different types of diseases. All right, so I'm going to pop into the comments now and see if there are any questions. There's always a lesson to be learned from every relationship, every situation, whether it works out or not. Exactly. Exactly. So like I said to you guys earlier in the conversation, I am a diehard romantic, and if I give you my stories and my experiences with relationships, you'll want to know the hell wrong with me. But I honestly believe that every situation prepared me for the ultimate situation. I don't know if that makes sense. So if a relationship didn't work out now with this person, guess what? I believe in my heart that the next person coming along will be definitely way better than whoever it is, and not in a way that I'm dissing the person or anything like that. So I really do believe that every situation prepares you for the ultimate, because if you're doing it right, if you're doing the work, you would understand how important it is for you to keep working on yourself, working on yourself, working on yourself. And then, like I said, because for me, I believe I got to that stage where I realized that I needed to take a break. I needed to take a time out. So I didn't do relationship for a very long time. And I took that time to just work on me, connect with me, figure out who I am, what I want to do, what brings me joy, and just do me. And when I get to that stage now, it's like anybody else who coming around is like, you're just icing on the cake. It's not, I'm not saying that I don't need someone, but I don't really need you. You're just like, okay, let me put it this way, because I don't want to be misinterpreted. By myself, I am great. With a good partner who also would have done the work on himself, I am fabulous. That's how it is. I don't do stressful relationships. I don't do stressful connections. I can't do people who are jealous, because for me, I understand what my purpose is and where I am going. I could only connect with someone who is really connected with who he is at his core, and really have nothing to do with somebody who rich and somebody who could do this and do that. Self first, and then anything else after. All right, I'm going through. I need this first. My head and my heart don't agree always. All right. So when your heart and your head don't agree, what do you do? That's right. That's a tricky question. First of all, the head and your heart have to always connect. If there's a disconnect between your head and your heart, you're in a situation that's not right for you. And like I said earlier, it's very important for you to really connect with what you want, what makes you happy. How do you see yourself in a relationship, in a connection? Where do you see yourself in the future? Is the person that you are hooking up with, or are you planning? I mean, honestly, in all fairness, not every situation is a together forever kind of situation. But this is how I really put it. I have two ways that I put this thing. When it comes to relationships are like finding the perfect pair of shoes. Because I love shoes, so I could identify with shoes. So here's the thing about that. You will go to a store and you'll see the most awesome, drop dead gorgeous pairs of shoes, right? And not everything that looks good fits well. Some of them would fit well, but it's not comfortable. That part, living and exploring. Going to take a drink for that. Take a drink for that. I taking a drink of water. Follow the head because the heart could be misleading. No, I don't agree with that, because your heart is your center and your heart knows everything. So it's when your heart is like, okay, when your heart is disconnected from your intuition, then you have a problem because your heart is your GPS. It don't have nothing to do with the head. The head is when you start to do when your intellect take over is when you're gonna go to your head, right? So your heart and your intuition have to connect. Then you know you're in a good place, right? So yeah, where was I? These comments are juicy. Y'all like this topic? Right. So back to my analogy of a relationship. The right relationship for me, I'm gonna speak for myself, is like finding the perfect pair of shoe. And sometimes you find shoes that are so gorgeous. You could put them on and they only feel comfortable for the first 5 minutes. You can't walk in them, you can't stand in them. Those shoes have to go. And then you'll find a pair of shoes that is so perfect. You could walk a mile in them, and after that, it's uncomfortable, right? So, in saying that, this is what I'm saying. For the people who familiar with Trinidad, sometimes while we are programmed to believe that we have to get married to the first man we ever kiss, that's what we are programmed to believe, right? This is the reality. Like I said, relationships are about purpose. And all of them are not together forever situations because there are a lot of people in situations right now who are married and it's just a thing because I'm Mrs. Whoever, or I have a wife, or I have a husband. So for me, from my observation, this is what I see happening. It's like, okay, I'm gonna do it international. Let's say I'm in Trinidad and I want to get to Europe. I might be able to take a direct flight. So from Trinidad, I could jump on a flight. It can take me a few hours and I will get to where I'm going. But for some of us, we have to en route in Barbados. So, and that I'm equating this to relationships. So the first relationship will get me from point A to point B, which is Trinidad to Barbados. And then I might have to take a connection that will make me stop in, let's say, Antigua. And then from Antigua, I will have to take another connection that will get me to New York. And then from New York, I might have to take another connection. I will stop somewhere else. So that's how I see it. And so if it is that, well, by the time you get to Antigua, you decide I'm done. I don't want nothing to do with relationships. You are never going to get to your final destination because your purpose is not just to stop in Barbados or Antigua, you have to go on. But in doing that, you really also have to connect with your inner GPS so you know when you get into a situation that's not right for you. Because when I tell you, I mean, this is not a man blaming thing or a woman blaming thing. I have to only speak from my perspective. You see, if you don't have that intimate connection with yourself, and if you don't understand who you are and what your purpose is, then anytime they can hire could come and tell you anything. So it's important for you to understand yourself from all the way up in here. So when your heart, as Gloria was saying, when your heart and your head clash, and Rachel was also saying that when your heart and your head clash, you need to just take a couple backpedal a couple, and then get yourself centered and listen to what your heart is saying. Because when these guys come around, some of them is so slick. You will be seeing you'll be seeing that this is cucumber, and they will come and tell you, no, it's not cucumber, it's watermelon. And by the time they're done with you, you swear that it's watermelon. So that's why it's important before you jump into a relationship with anybody, know who you are. Woman, know thyself. Man, know thyself. Because I think it's not a one-way street. Because men, there's some really good men out there, and there are a lot of men who are messed up by women just as much as there are a lot of women who are messed up by men too. So both parties, because we are human beings, and I don't think our experiences are any different when it comes to the affairs of our hearts and getting hurt. So we really have to develop that intimate relationship with ourselves and understand who we are and what our desires are. And I believe when you're with the right person who's the right person for you, everything feels comfortable. And honestly, it's not going to be a walk in the park, because if you could find the perfect relationship, and it will still take a lot of work, because you remember the essence of what a relationship is to develop yourself so you can reach your ultimate goal. So your perfect relationship is the one that will challenge you to your core. But at the same time, you would not be able to just walk away from it, because guess what? You're messing with my ego and I can't deal with you. You have to be willing to take a few steps back, work on yourself, because at the end of the day, a relationship is about two people who are working on themselves simultaneously. All right. So, hi, Wendy. Thank you. Please take into account bad weather and breakdowns. What does that mean? Hi, Auntie Carol. What does that mean? Bad weather and breakdown. I think you need to break that down for me, because I don't understand. Bad weather and breakdown. Yeah, Wendy, you know me. I love love. I love relationships, and I honestly believe that I have enough experience that I could give really good guidance and good song guidance too. So, let's talk about our relationship with our children. Let me see what else on this list that I could share for you guys. So, pop in. I think I would have posted this a question: right man, right woman, but wrong timing. Well, right woman, right man, but wrong timing. Is there such a thing as right woman, right man, wrong timing? That is that's a technical question. I'm gonna get to it just now though, because it's very interesting. Oh, the flight explanation. Oh, bad weather. No, and not. Yes, there's bad weather that might cause you to be stuck in Antigua for a long time. But when you stay stuck and you decide that's what I ain't never with this traveling thing no more. I mean, really. It's a metaphor. My metaphoric way of really getting people to understand that every relationship is not meant to last forever. Some of them gonna take you through. It's like this thing that says something about a season, a reason, and a lifetime. Not all relationships are lifetime relationships, you know. So your season might be up in Antigua, and you decide that, well, you know what, that's it for me. I don't want to go anywhere. But sometimes your season is not just up in Antigua; it's all the way to London or some other place in Europe, and you have to find a way to get yourself out of that rut that you're in so that you can move on. Take a drink, the answer might come. Yes, okay. So I'm gonna share one thing on my list as I have it open here, and then we will get to Mr. Williams' question. Um, the most powerful lesson I've learned about unconditional love is observing my parents. They epitomize their wedding vows, for better, for worse, in sickness and health, and also for my brothers and the way they care for my father who lost his independence. So, yeah, in sickness and in health. Let me tell you about my parents. My parents, I think right man or right woman can be bad, and I think right man and right woman can have bad timing. If it's meant to be, it will find a way. Exactly. But I don't want to go there yet. So hold that. We're gonna go there in a second. Yeah. Because everything at the end, no, okay, I'm gonna go there. So here's the thing. Here's what I observe. While we may think that something is bad timing, sometimes the time is not even right yet. So, like Wendy says, I I totally agree with Wendy when she says, if it's meant to be, it will find a way. Because that's what I've been hearing for the longest while. If something is meant to be, they have no distance, no time, no person, no storm, none of that stuff. could prevent it from happening, because God's will is God's will. And whenever it's supposed to happen, it will happen. I guess right timing is what people call complicated relationships. Uh, Not really. Maybe L.A. Williams could tell you about that. Answer Camila. Camila Janine, give her an idea what you were talking about. Because complicated relationships is a whole other scenario. Complicated relationships, people complicate their own life because they settle for stuff that they know is not going to work for them. Because, for example, a woman would meet a man, or a man meet a woman, right? And he tells her, guess what? I am married and I am very happy in my relationship, and not really looking for something right now. Or maybe he might say, oh, something going on in my relationship, it's not going well, and I think I like you, or we could do something. That woman now, she is definitely not looking to hook up with somebody else's husband. But because of whatever need she may have, and he is there presenting it, she decides to settle. And when you settle in those kinds of situations, you have all kinds of situations, complicated situations popping up, as Janine would have said. So for me personally, this is how I had dealt with that in the past, and it worked for me. First of all, my first question is, I'm very forthwith and very straightforward. I don't let any guy play me. If I get played, it's because I want to get played. You know what I'm saying? Because when you come at me and I ask you, because I remember this one particular situation, and I asked the guy, so what's going on with you? Are you in a relationship? And his response was, oh, I kind of sort of in a relationship. And my response is like, it just jump out. What the hell do you mean by kind of sort of? It's either in a relationship or you're not in a relationship. Guess what? When you figure your shit out, you could give me a call. But I ain't doing the kind of sort of in a relationship. And that is where a lot of women and men need to get to, so that you don't find yourself in complications further down the line. Because when complications start popping up, guess who's get hurt? The person who's settling. All right. So, hi Tracy. Welcome, welcome, welcome. I hope you guys are enjoying this conversation. Is there anybody have any questions? I don't even know how long I've kept you here. I don't want to take up too much more of your time. So I'm going to do a few more points. And then, Erla, what about confiding in each other and having a secretive partner even when you bear all the finances? That's a level of deception that's not that should not be acceptable. What about confiding in each other, having a secretive partner even when you bear it all? I don't quite understand that. But when it comes to the intricacies of relationships, I don't get involved in that, because like I said, in the beginning, when you make a list of what you think will make you happy in your situation, and you have on the side what are your deal breakers, for example, for me is abuse, any type of abuse. I wouldn't necessarily give up on my relationship if my guy cheat on me. If he lie about it, then we're gonna have a problem, because to me, from my observation, I am yet to meet a man who could be faithful to one woman. Yes, they are there. They have a few of them out there. But this situation is always tricky. When I say, so when it comes to what is and what shouldn't be, the two people who are together, the two of you have to decide, and you have to decide by yourself first, what are my deal breakers? What is the thing that will pop up that will make me decide, you know what? Fuck this. I don't want to do this no more. Sorry, excuse my French. Yes, my mouth is dirty. You know? So, do you believe in having a list of what you want in a partner and sticking with it? Hell yes. Hell yeah. Because I believe in the law of attraction, first of all, first and foremost, right? And I believe that if if you could get so clear in your mind about what you want and what will work for you, I'm not saying that you should be so rigid in what you have written, that because sometimes the perfect gift don't come in the perfect package. I think that's how I could say it. So in having your list, and I believe it's important for you to really connect with the feeling of what is, what you want. So yes, the list is important, but the deal breaker list is also more important too. So I believe it's like when you get so clear on what you want, when what you don't want shows up, it's easier to recognize it. I think that's the best way to put it. Yeah. So what you when you know what you really want for yourself and out of your relationship, it's easier to recognize when it doesn't show up. And you have to be very honest with yourself and really be able to express. Because I remember as a younger woman, I got myself in trouble because I didn't want to hurt the other person's feelings. So I got myself involved in a lot of situations because, like, I feel sorry for the person then. Guess what? That shit don't count no more. Because I actually asked a guy one time, I said, wait a minute, you have any plans for me other than to keep me on my back? Because you're seeing things that you don't want, or whatever the case is, or whatever. You have to be willing to say, guess what, you are perfect the way you are, but this is not going to work for me, and you got to keep stepping and keep moving on. Don't just keep falling for words and falling for words and falling for words, and there's no actions. What's going to happen, you'll end up in a situation where, oh shit, wait a minute, 4 years done gone already, and I ain't even we are supposed to be with this person. No. So you, like I said, I wouldn't tell somebody what to do. You have your list. You know what you want. You know what you're gonna settle for, what you're not gonna settle for, and when it doesn't show up, you have to be willing to say, "Hey, this is not working for me no more." All right. Yeah, sometimes I sorry to hurt people. They might be nice. Yeah, that shit don't work no. So let me tell you something. You see, 50 something. Well, I think I started off in my 40s. I think my 40s, my late 30s, 40s are my best years. Because after that, I am not afraid to. I'm not saying I'm going to be brutal, or I am brutal, but I know for a fact that I was, as a younger woman, I got myself in a lot of situations that I didn't necessarily want to be in, and it just didn't work for me, and I settled because I didn't want to hurt the other person. Even now, I'm gonna give you all this joke. They have this one person who found me on Facebook and was sending me messages every day and stuff like that. And let me tell you something. I put that in a bin that I can't even see, because every time I see this person, it's like I want to slap myself. Like, what the hell? I mean, don't get me wrong, he was a great guy or whatever the case is, but I know ladies could understand. It's like, what the frig? All right. Yes, Wendy, yes, for sure the list keeps you in check, because when you, like I said, when you understand what you don't want, it's easier for you to recognize what you, yeah, when you know what you want, it's easier to recognize what you don't want. I'm a faithful guy. The last time I looked into the mirror, I was still dating me, and I still with me. That's amazing, because let me tell you something. The best gift that you could give yourself is to give yourself time to be able to connect with the right person. So, Anthony Agar, you have a list. Okay. All right. I was looking at it a little bit differently. We both felt a very strong connection, but we might be involved otherwise, or just one person. So nothing might be done about it, but we know that we are right for each other. How to one navigate those waters? Well, the only way to navigate those waters is time. Time, time, time. Hi, Shelly. Welcome, welcome, Shelly. Welcome, welcome, welcome. I really appreciate that you guys are sharing. Good evening. Good evening from Barbados. Welcome for joining. Welcome, welcome. Thank you for joining me. I know you guys could have been doing anything else with your Wednesday afternoon, but the fact that you're sharing it with me, I am like super, super, super grateful. I think I'm over my time. I know we're enjoying this. Maybe I'll bring it again so we could exchange notes and ideas about relationships in the future. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pop the link to my blog, 19 Gems I've Embraced from My Experience with Love. I'm looking to see if there's anything else I could leave you with before I go. This is a big one. Break clean from what you are involved in first in order to give the person you want to be with your unconditional love. Exactly. Exactly. Because guess what? It does not make sense. You're complicating your life. Because it's like 3 lives you're complicating there. You're complicating your own, you're complicating the person that you're with, and you're complicating the person who you're entertaining. So it's always better to break it off. Get to the point where you want to be, and before, because that's like bleeding, and that's what I mean by work on yourself so you don't cut other people who didn't you don't bleed on other people who didn't cut you. And I'm going to go ahead and share this one point, and then I'm going to let you guys go. I think this is it here. It's my number 12 point. Is it? Oh, did I lose it? I spoke about this before. All relationships are connected to your purpose. Where did it go? Okay, yes. Number 11, love is just what it is when you are with the right person that feels right for you. You will continually work with all their flaws and their indifferences because it's usually shine a light so bright on yours that you will want to keep at it, so you collectively work through all of your stuff. I think that was it. Yeah. Right, so what are you guys saying now? And then I'm going to share this last one, which is all relationships requires work and effort. None is ever a walk in the park. You have to be willing to navigate your challenges together. I do my best to remind myself and my partner it's always about us against whatever will come up to challenge our connection. So I think that's and I'm going to leave you on this note. Communicating when things go wrong, or even honest, open communication about the things that may cause discomfort, has a two-way impact. It is important for personal growth as well as an opportunity to strengthen your bonds. Hi, Shelly. Hi, Shelly. Hi, Shelly. Welcome, welcome, welcome. So what I want you guys to do is go ahead and share, and let me know what your thoughts are, and especially when it comes to relationships requires work, and it's each individual responsibility to share themselves honestly, because what happens is sometimes you have, it's like what's his name, is it Teddy Pendergrass 50-50 love, and I don't believe in 50-50 love. 100%, because somebody getting robbed if it's a 50-50 love. It's not 60-40, it's not 70-40 or 70-30 or whatever the case is. So, and sometimes it may be necessary. I believe sometimes it's necessary. In saying that, in all fairness, it all depends on the situation. There are times when we may have to pick up the slack on behalf of our partners, and you can't expect the other person to always do the work, because at the end of the day, all of us are navigating our own individual challenges, whether it's to do with our personal goals, because we have that. We may have, and I think that's important for you to understand that two people together, you have your goals that you have together, and then you have your individual goals that you have to accomplish. And sometimes, as a result of your challenges you may be experiencing on the other side of you, and it has nothing to do with your relationship, but a lot of people get caught up in the ego and get caught up in being needy, that you forget that this other person is just like you, and they would need time and they would need space, so don't get, when, like I said earlier, if you have a connection with yourself, if you have a relationship with yourself, then it's going to be okay for you to be able to give the other person space when they need it. So I see you guys are having a blast with this. Hey Jewel, thank you for popping in. This was really a great conversation. What I usually do when I'm done is I go back through and I check out the comments and I will respond. So I really appreciate your time. I would love if you could share this live so we could get this message spread across to more people. I appreciate all your comments and your input. And I, of course, most of all, really appreciate your time. I know you could have been doing anything else, but you choose to share this fabulous Wednesday evening with me. And I will always continue to bring you great content. Next week, I'm talking to an author, and I think it's the following week I'm going to be chatting with a guy. And I'm so looking forward to our conversation, because this is some of the things that we will actually have that we will really talk about. So if there isn't any other questions or comments, I know I could stay here forever because this is my thing. One of these days, I'm gonna have my counseling consultancy open for relationships, for both couples and individuals. I'm gonna give you a gentle reminder, especially to the women. Maybe women and men, I should separate it, but I think this is one nugget that I would really love to share with you guys, because it's one of the biggest things that cause a lot of conflict in relationships. Unless you're a psychic, your partner is not a mind reader. So you have to be able to be honest with yourself and express what is going on with you. Don't expect the other person to read your mind. If you do that, you're going to end up in problems. And I have so many blogs on topics like these, but unfortunately, it's not under my name. I've been writing under pen name for the longest while. And as I go along and I get a little bit more confident with having these types of conversations, I will share that with you so you could go ahead and you could check it out. All right. Oh, Wendy. No, girl, don't do that. You're gonna stress your own self out, because for me, I find, nah, that's too stressful. When I get to that place to say, you know what, hey, this is how it is, this is the, and it's just so much more easier. Some things. Sorry, I have to put on my glasses. Some things you expect them to know, though. Well, you see, expect here. Oh, I have to leave you with this. This is one that I didn't get to touch on, and I want y'all to take this in real good. You see, the day you get over the whole idea of how it's supposed to be and embrace it for what it is in the moment, that's the day when your trouble is going to be over in your relationship, in any relationship. As women, we judge all our connections the same way. You may have had a fabulous connection with somebody who could read your mind, who could look at your face or your expression and know whether you're upset or whether you're sad or whether you're having a bad day, whatever. But don't take it into the next situation and know and think it's going to work that way, because everybody loves differently, right? So divorce how it's supposed to be And what Wendy says, how you expect the person to feel, or how you expect the person to know, divorce that one time. You know, not everybody's supposed, you think they're supposed to know it, but sometimes life is just so much less stressful if you could just say, okay, this is how it is, this is how it could be. I like this way, I don't like this that way, and that way life is real simple. No stress. You don't gotta be upset unnecessarily with the person, and the person, your connection could be drama free if you have that. So I love you guys. I really appreciate this conversation. I honestly didn't think it was gonna go down like this, but I am so grateful for you. I'm so grateful for your time. I You will tell me if I shared anything or if you stuck as me. Of course, my thing is just one thing, but I know there are other people who are there and sharing their ideas. And the whole purpose of this is not for me to just tell you how what I think, but it's to have conversation, because I believe all of us, we could learn. We're all connected, and we could learn from each other. If Because I one of these days I'm gonna create a safer, more intimate space, like a group, where it's going to be very selective of who's going to be there, so we'll be able to come in and give more support to each other and get a little bit more intimate, and so yeah, so lots of things in the future. For now, this is how it is. This is nothing fancy. This is just me on my phone in my little living room area, just vibes in with you guys. So one of these days it's gonna be bigger than this. I love you. I appreciate you. Thank you so very, 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 very much. I appreciate it. So continue to be safe. And for all the people who are in North America, with all that cold weather and snow and no electricity, y'all please stay warm, because I've already heard of so many people who died as a result of not being warm. I I wish you guys the best night, the best rest of the week. And for all the people who celebrating birthdays, happy birthday again. Love, light, and blessings. Mwah, mwah, mwah. Talk to you guys soon. Toodaloo.